Hello, everyone, and welcome to an emergency edition of the Shooters Lounge podcast. I am Matt, host, Post323. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys, on YouTube. Search for the Shooters Lounge. You can also follow us on the socials at Shooters Lounge 3. It's got to be an emergency pod, guys. The trade broke this morning. It rocked the NBA. Nobody saw it coming. Players, executives, coaches, fans. Nobody saw it coming. It's come completely out the blue. There was no rumors. There's no leaking of information. It's broke early this morning, our time, around 6 a.m. Luka Doncic is now Los Angeles Laker. And I thought, who can I have on? Who would like to discuss this trade? Could it be a Lakers fan? Could it be a Dallas fan? Well, this man right here has taken up the mantle, and I'm going to introduce him now, Dallas fan. Liam, welcome back to the Shooters Lounge, bro.
Cheers, mate. I think last time I was in a different vibe when it was a pre-finals chat where I was hopeful of a Luka Doncic championship ring, and that didn't happen. And then now, a few months later, we're here. But I appreciate you having me on. For anyone listening, the true story is I was demanding almost to come on Twitter because I had to talk to someone about this, and you were my go-to guy. So appreciate you having me on.
No, absolutely, mate. Honours all man, mate. So it's good to have you on again. Like you say, last time it was the kind of improbable finals run, and life moves pretty fast in the NBA, bro, doesn't it? It's kind of things have definitely changed since then, haven't they? So if we just go through the trade, and then I can kind of get your kind of thoughts on it. So Lakers get Luka Doncic, and also Maxi Kleber, Markieff Morris. And then Dallas get Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. And then a sprinkling of the Utah Jazz to complete the trade. Jalen Hood-Schifino and 2 2025 second-round picks. So, Liam, when you first saw the news this morning, what were your first reactions, bro? Did you think it was real? Did you have to fact check? I think there was a lot of people trying to fact check this stuff, or somebody thought Twitter's accounts are getting hacked, or what are your reactions to this blockbuster of a trade that's just rocked the NBA, bro?
Yeah, I probably listened to like 3 or 4 shows and watched a few clips on Twitter that was about live reactions, and 99% of them was like, the first reaction is like, this is fake, this is fake, this is fake. So I did find it quite funny that everyone, regardless, one of them was a Suns fan, obviously probably doesn't like the Mavs. One of them was a Spurs fan, definitely doesn't like the Mavs. One of them was a Mavs fan, a Lakers fan I saw. So like anyone involved was like, this is definitely fake. He's been hacked. And then he had to do a tweet, and Bobby Marks had to do a tweet saying, no, he's not been hacked. This is legit.
This is for real. Yeah.
This is for real. But yeah, I guess I had kind of 2 reactions. So I woke up quite late today after a late night, had loads of messages. So I knew something was happening.
Oh, yeah.
And I have one friend who is a big NFL fan like me, but he's also a Mavs fan. And he said, that trade is not nearly enough. That was all I saw. And I was like, who's been traded? It's not my NFL team because I support the Chiefs. So I knew it wasn't anything to do with the NFL.
Yeah.
And then I was like thinking, I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking big, crazy NBA trade, maybe Kyrie Irving, maybe Derek Lively, something along those lines.
Yeah.
But I had like 20 WhatsApps from people that I haven't spoken to in ages. All this, so I was like, "What?" So I went on Twitter. First thing I saw was Luka Doncic has been traded, and I was just like completely in shock. So I think that was my first reaction, was just like, couldn't believe it, shocked, replying to a load of my friends. But I hadn't even actually looked at the trade. I did see Davis, I did see Doncic, but I didn't look at the full details. Then about half an hour later, 20 minutes later, I was like, right, full details. And then I was like, oh my God, this is the worst trade in NBA history. I think that was kind of my main reaction. I can't remember if I mentioned this on the finals pod, but so I'm only a Mavs. Well, we'll see if I am a Mavs fan, but I was only a Mavs fan up to this because I'm a Real Madrid fan in basketball. My dad lived in Madrid, and I watched Luka play as a kid. And I just decided whichever NBA team he goes to, that'll be my NBA team, because my family were all Knicks fans, but I wasn't, I was into the Knicks because of Carmelo, but I wasn't really a big fan. And then I made the decision, right, whoever he goes to, that's the team I'll go to. And now he's on a different team, so there's a decision to make.
Oh dear.
I had a lot of messages from people being like, this is your favorite ever NBA player, So everyone's been texting me all day asking how it's going. So for me, it was just crazy reaction. And then, when I saw the details, it was, I do generally think it's probably the worst trade in NBA history. I know we'll get into more details, but yeah, that was my first reaction. It's almost like someone's died. The amount of texts I had, like, hope you're all right, bro.
Yeah, you're doing okay. Is everything all right? Yeah, I hope you're doing okay. Yeah, it's almost almost like a mourning phase, isn't it?
It is,
absolutely.
It is. Yeah, well, my friend owns a little business where he prints off, NBA, NFL merch. He personalizes merch and stuff. And I was waiting the little screenshot of the 77 in yellow, being like, "Come on, let's get a hoodie on ordered." And so it was a crazy morning. My wife doesn't really like sport, but even she was just like, knows how crazy this is. Do you know what I mean? In terms of how much of a big deal it is. I think probably worst trade, definitely most shocking. No leaks, like you mentioned, and it's probably the best player to ever be traded where it wasn't their decision. If you know what I mean. There's loads of you got LeBron, Kevin Durant, Wilt Chamberlain, people like that, but it was all their decision.
They've all asked to be traded, haven't they? Yeah.
Whereas he, which I firmly believe, because Mark Stein, if anyone who listens to NBA stuff, is a really good reporter. He lives in Dallas. He's like, he had no idea about this. Like, he has not had. He got told about this after it happened. Or as it was happening. And I think that's probably makes it more crazy, right? It's like, even if you don't like him, you probably say he's the 5th best player in the league. If you don't like him, if you do like him, he's probably the 2nd best player behind Jokic. So for him to be traded with no notice, no bidding war, and then we'll talk about what they got back. But crazy. I was just What about you? You're obviously a neutral. You don't have that feeling towards him or the team, whatever. How did you feel when you saw it?
I think I was probably as stunned as you were, dude. To be honest with you, I just couldn't believe. I'm like you say, he's one of them guys that you just don't trade. He's like you say, there's 4 or 5 guys in the league that you just don't trade, regardless of what somebody's offering. Unless it's for somebody in the same group as them.
True.
You just don't trade them. They're not people. No player's perfect. Obviously, everybody has kind of things that they're not as good at. But in terms of offensive production, and Doncic is right up there, isn't he? He proved it in the playoffs last year. Like, he got you to the finals. He was an absolute killer, bro. Like, and he's shown it time after time in the playoffs, mate. People like that don't come along every day, man. And to move on from that, he's still 25. He's probably not in his prime yet, and that's scary. And to just offload him. I mean, coming back, Davis. He's not. Davis is a very good player. But to just unload Luka for such little, they could have got way more. If they'd have said, if it had come out that he was available. Dallas phoned Lakers. Dallas phoned LA and said, Luka's available. You're my first call almost. It's completely... I'm completely shocked, bro, like you really, mate. I had to kind of sit there for a bit this morning. I'm just like, what? Perplexing probably is the best word to describe it, mate.
Yeah, most people don't like the Lakers either, so they're a bit confused, frustrated at how they've done it again.
They've done it again.
They got Wilt Chamberlain back in the day in that trade, that Magic draft.
This is what the Lakers do, don't they? They get the marquee players, always have done, always will. And they've got their guy now, even after LeBron hangs it up. They've got their guy now for however many years, which unfortunately was who you thought you got in Dallas for so long, mate. Which it's got to sting a little, bro.
Yeah, I think modern day NBA, you'd struggle to see any player last in their whole career at one team.
I think it's done, bro. Isn't it? That kind of era now is gone, hasn't it? Way gone.
But I just think if you'd have asked 100 people, and I've always had this bit of a stick with Rich and the guys in the NBA UK fans chat about when Luka's going to ask out, because Dallas did 3 or 4 really bad trades since he's been there, and they've recently, ironically, turned it around, and then they do this trade, which is even worse. But all the guys would be like, when do you think he asks out? Because he does really like Miami Heat because of Goran Dragic. That's his team.
Of course.
He was a Knicks fan growing up. LeBron James and Kobe were 2 of his favorite players. So they've all been the 3 teams that you hear these murmurings about. When's he going to ask out? If you'd told me a year after me arguing with everyone saying I don't think he'll ask out because he's quite loyal. It'll be later in his career, maybe if he hasn't won a ring, that he decides.
Yeah.
Then the team force him out. I honestly could never. I never could have guessed it. And we'll talk about. I know there's a bit more about the Mavs side in a bit, but some of the reasoning since this trade's come out is, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, it is. Yeah, it might be the most shocking sports trade ever. To be honest, it's that level. Definitely since I've been alive, anyway. So.
Yeah, I can't remember anything where I was genuinely shocked. Like, you see things go through, don't you? You're like, whoa, but it's usually players who are available or are in free agency or, they signed with them. We knew Kevin Durant was a free agent, didn't we? When he signed for Golden State, but we knew he was a free agent. Like, this has just come completely out of the blue. How they kept it under wraps? Because apparently it was kind of negotiated like a couple of weeks ago. Shows you can keep things under wraps if you really want to. I think that shows a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think obviously I do generally think this is the worst trade. So Nico Harrison maybe has ruined all of his good work, but all the trades they've done.
He did last year, didn't he, man? He did some good work, and what he got to the finals and stuff.
Definitely. Sure. But all the trades he's done have been quite under the radar. So he clearly is good at not leaking stuff. And obviously now Cuban's left. I've seen a lot of people slating Cuban for this. I'm like, if Cuban was the owner, I guarantee you this trade wouldn't have happened. He would never sign off on.
What do you think? What do you think Cuban's saying now, bro?
I have no idea. I think he's. I don't know what he's saying. I think there's part of me. I've read it today. Could this be the team they try and take to Vegas? The owners are really influential in Vegas. Okay. They own loads of casinos. That's how they made their money. But you never know. They're trying to build a casino. They're literally trying to build a casino attached to the arena. That's the owners are very money motivated. Yeah. Okay. So I almost wonder for him if there's an element where he's just like doesn't care anymore because he's like they kind of forced him out, or if he's like I cannot believe I sold the team and they've done this. So people don't like him, but one thing he did care about is he did like owning. He did care about owning a team. Like there's a reason why he was sat on the bench and he was, he's a bit of an odd owner, but he cared about the team. He wasn't one of these owners that we all. Even if you like football in England, one of the owners where you're like, we don't want one of them because we just know if it goes wrong, they don't care about us. That's it. We're going to be screwed forever. He was always someone that cared about the team. So I imagine he's probably quite unhappy. There's that clip going around that he said on that pod. Someone, don't know if you've seen the clip where he said that one of their, maybe it was Barnes, I can't remember, it was an ex-NBA player, said, if you had to choose between your wife and your kids or something and Luka, what would you choose? And it's like, I choose Luka all day.
I mean, they're getting a divorce. Like, I mean,
6 months after he tells the team they've got rid of him, it's like,
wow. I bet he's got something to say. You might not hear what he's got to say, but I bet he's got thoughts on it, mate. Because I think he was very. That was how Cuban worked, is he? He was never kind of, obviously they kept Dirk, didn't they, their entire career and things like that, and Cuban doesn't really. I don't think anyway. Didn't really have that kind of mindset as. Getting rid of players like that, that
he was always trying to find the next star, wasn't he? He never would get rid of.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah, you're not replacing one for the other. Maybe you've got one, you need another one, or to build what you've got. I don't think he was ever like because you're just trading one for the other. Are you getting any better? Now that's going to be the fallout now, isn't it? It's all who's won the trade and all that now at the moment. The fallout's still kind of going on, isn't it? But like you say, the things that have come out after where questions about Luka's conditioning, defense, and what did Nico Harris say? Defense wins championships. Alluding to Davis, I would say, as to having Davis on your team now is going to bolster the defense and things. And you seem to have a lot of big men now on the team, dude.
He does like big guys. Yeah, I think from a Mavs perspective, there'll be another trade that happens.
Yeah. I think they put Gafford. Gafford's available. I think the word is out there. That is it already. That was already a thing, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably it. Unless AD has always had this thing where he wants to play the 4, right? He hates playing center. Maybe he's told him you are going to be the 4, and I'll keep both centers. But because one thing that's interesting about this trade is Nico Harrison loves Anthony Davis. He recruited him to Nike. He's known him since he was a kid. They're really close. I think if this was another star player, if you call Davis a star, but another that level player, I think this deal's harder to get done if you're Nico, but he really loves Anthony Davis. And I think maybe they don't. Maybe they keep both centers because they don't want to instantly get Anthony Davis, trade the centers, and then make him unhappy, which is just a complete nightmare. Because they've already got Kyrie that's going to be unhappy. In my opinion, they've got Clay maybe that might be unhappy, and then you've got this center decision. But yeah, they've got a lot of a lot of big men. But it's just a crazy trade. I can't believe he's done it. He was most famous when he left Nike. He was the guy that he tried to undercut Steph Curry, and Steph Curry went to the meeting to sign. He undercut him, and he went, "Nah, you're right. I'm going to Under Armour." And then 10 years later, he's now made Under Armour more money than anyone apart from like LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, basically when Kyrie was with Nike. And now he's going to be known for doing this trade in the NBA. It's crazy. You never know, it might work. Like they might win a championship, and I don't think that's going to happen. We'll talk about that in a minute. But but yeah, he's going to be known as the guy who traded away.
Yes.
Maybe, yeah. I know Dirk will always be the greatest Maverick, but in terms of the best, most talented player, he's going to be known as the guy who's traded the most talented player ever in the NBA until someone does it in the future to someone else. But yeah, crazy trade.
Absolutely, yeah. Like you say, it's I just keep going back to these kind of players don't come around every so often, and I thought I was going to get a lean few years of the Lakers after LeBron hangs it up. I thought, they aren't going to be any good, and then they just retool just like that, mate, and we're back in again, and they've got their poster boy now for how many years. So kind of moving on, mate. Like, do you think the trade was anything to do with money? Obviously, with Luka, with the Supermax and things, he was Supermax eligible in the summer. Do you think? Dallas, it seems like that the Mavs are kind of indicating really that they didn't want to pay Luka. What were they looking at? 5 years, 345 million or something like that it was going to be. Do you think that's what ultimately made the decision, do you think? Or
yeah, I think they're spinning it like that. I honestly, because I do think it is the worst trade ever, I couldn't tell you what the actual reason is, but I agree with you that's how they're spinning it.
Yeah.
Since we've only been in the room for like 15, 20 minutes, whatever. But just before we came on, I think they released a story in like the Dallas Times, basically the biggest press publication in the city. And in there, he specifically said that teams are already sniffing around him for 2 years' time when he's a free agent.
Yeah.
And then he mentioned the Supermax. And reading what he wrote, whether you think this is true or not, it sounded like they didn't want to pay him a Supermax this summer. For whatever reason, which I think is stupid enough in its own right, because everyone gets a Supermax now. Any good player gets a Supermax. And that they felt like if they then waited to try and pay him less in free agency, less than the Supermax, he would just leave anyway. Obviously, the issue with that thinking is you should just pay him the Supermax. So you've made an error. But I agree with you. It feels like that's what they're saying. They're saying we didn't want to pay him Supermax yet.
Yeah.
And then in 2 years, he's probably going to go to, like I said, those three teams. It's been rumored for years that Knicks, Lakers, Heat, he would go to one of those three teams if Dallas ever, decided not to pay him. So yeah, it sounds like it is about money. I still have a weird feeling about the whole Nico. I do think he's pretty close to Anthony Davis, and he honestly might sit there, and you'll never get him to admit this. But if you said to him, "Who's a better player?" he might pick the other guy. And might pick
really.
Davis. I just think he's that close to Anthony Davis, and his actions have shown since he's been in Dallas that he does care about defense. Every move they made, apart from Kyrie, has been about that. And there's a lot of talk that Jason Kidd was very pro Kyrie trade. But any other move you've looked, Lively, Gafford, Washington, Davis, even Max Christie, ironically, good defenders. And I think that is what he cares about. But yeah, for me, I think that's what they're spinning it about. It's about money. And they're now already starting to leak out other teams were already interested in him. He's probably going to leave, and it's like that's 2 years away. Like you should.
Yeah, here comes the narrative now that you want to put out there now, innit? Yeah.
And I think if you think he's going to leave, you just phone everyone. You phone the Jazz, you phone the Thunder, you phone the Pelicans, you phone I can't remember the other team, Spurs. There's another team that's got loads of draft picks. You phone all those teams and say, look, he's available. If you don't offer enough, we're going to keep him because we think he can win the title, and we'll let him leave next year for free. But if you want him, come get him. And I guarantee you they would have got more than this. But I just think he likes Davis that much. I don't think they would have got a player as good as Davis from anywhere else. But I think they would have got a much better haul overall. I
You think of the whole. You think of the whole the Nets got for Mikal Bridges from the Knicks. How many picks they got and things.
I saw a funny trade earlier, tweet earlier that said it had the details. It was the OKC got more for Serge Ibaka, which is true, than the Mavericks got for the Thunder. Forgot for Luka.
Yeah.
And that did make me laugh. But yeah, there's loads of trades. You got the Gobert trade. Look at that. That's mental trade.
Towns trades. Yeah, there's several over time. Even the one for Paul George, like for the Clippers, they got Shea in there, and then so many picks, and it's just like you say that what you've said though about AD and Nico Harrison kind of that makes sense as to why they've just gone to the Lakers and nobody else though, bro. It's that could bring true, mate, for sure.
If they think that's the best player, that you write down the top 20 players in the NBA, they think that's the next best player they could get. Then yeah, and I also do wonder if they'll spin it as maybe this is true and we won't find out because, like I said, I'm always going to be pro Luka, but whether that was the team he was going to sign with, like whether that was kind of like if he leaves, he's already going to sign there, so this will kind of make him happy because you never know if you tried to trade him to the Jazz. Luka could go trade me to the Jazz, but I'm leaving in 2 years, so they're not going to give you. So I think that's one of the reasons why they've done this. But yeah, whether it is the Davis thing or not, it depends how much you believe about LeBron not knowing any of this, which is another element. But I don't know. It just seems like going back to your original question, they're spinning it that it's about money, and I guess the reason why it's about money is that they think he's either bad at defense, unhealthy. And injury, and there's a worry about his injury because he has had an injured left leg for about a year and a half.
Yes,
and he's injured again now with this left leg. Yeah, I don't think they should still have traded him. I think you just work it out because he still played like 60 games a season every season forever.
Yeah,
but whether
do they know something we don't, mate? I don't know.
Maybe. There's a lot of rumors. If you follow Dallas. Local media, the head athletic trainer left, and he was very close to Luka. And then since then, Luka's had a year and a half of just constant injuries. And there's a lot of talk that the current training staff who they brought in from other teams are just like he doesn't listen to them, and maybe the relationship's a bit strained. And then I heard a Mavs fan earlier who's like being like, "Cool, if that's the truth, fire all the medical staff, get whoever he wants." Like Luka Doncic is more important than the medical staff.
Wow.
And you're seeing these stories come out already, so I feel like there will be something, that we hear about injury or whatever. But he still managed to play, apart from this year, 80 games a season if you include Slovenia, and 100 games he played last season, 105 the year before. Like,
yeah.
I don't think that's reason enough, but I feel like that's the reason they're going to spin when we open up Twitter over the next couple of months.
Yeah. So obviously you're a bit more in touch with the Mavs kind of fan base in general than I am, mate. What's it looking like out there, dude?
It's not looking good. Not looking good. Boycott the team.
Oh wow! Oh man, is that where we're at? Oh, dude.
That's where we're at. Yeah. Burn your season ticket sort of vibes.
Oh wow!
I think what we can't understand is, well, we can understand it if you're, maybe if you're like, I'll give you an example. If you're live in Liverpool, right, and 10 years ago, Steven Gerrard is like, everyone cares about Steven Gerrard, right? I think the kids in the area and the people who live there care about, he's such a big part of the city as Luka, that it's more, for us, it's kind of just about basketball. But I think when you live in America, it's, like you said, there's only 5 or 6 of these players that come around, like LeBron in Cleveland. It's like that. And I think the fans are just completely, you won't find a single Mavs fan, I'd be shocked, that felt like this was a good move, even if all the things come true. So just saying 3 years, he is really injury prone and they were kind of right. You'll still see people go, doesn't matter. Like they cared about him a lot as a player. He's the reason why people came. Everyone's got jerseys of him all over the city. Yeah. Kyrie came to play with him. General vibe is it's pretty bad. I think most people just blame Nico Harrison, to be honest. I think the next thing is they're waiting for the press conferences, aren't they, to hear what, because Luka historically not good with the media, doesn't really, it's not his first language, so he doesn't speak a lot. I think they're interested to see what he said, because I don't know if you caught this, but Nico Harrison said I left him a voicemail and I texted him. And
he didn't call me back.
didn't call me back. So I think he's probably quite annoyed. I'm like, yeah, no shit. I think he's going to be really annoyed.
I mean, yeah, to have that out the blue, man, and you don't know it's coming, that's it's a bit of a blindside, isn't it, man, for sure.
Yeah.
There's ways to do it, isn't there? There's ways to kind of, tread this through and, kind of doing it and then telling him once it's done. I don't know if it's not the way to do things, is it? And
it's no way to get stars, is it, in the future? I don't think.
And players remember that stuff, bro, don't they? Players remember that, and they're like, well, I don't want to go there. They treat the best players like that. What they're going to do with me, I don't know. That's something you have to think about for the future, mate. But so looking at Dallas, where does this kind of put Dallas now? Losing Luka, who was the franchise, essentially. Now you're adding Davis. How do you think this is kind of going to look moving forward? Do you think there's another move in there, Liam? Or
yeah, I do think I think there's maybe one more move in there. But again, the more we spoke about it earlier, the more I'm thinking that isn't the center position, and they haven't really got many others they can move. Whether they move off Clay now.
I mean, it's a big contract, isn't it?
Yeah, so I'm not sure, but yeah, I do. I'd be surprised if they don't make one more move, just because you still need someone to handle the ball. They've now the team all year has had issues with because he's been injured all year. Who's helping Kyrie carry the ball? And now Luka's not even coming back now, so there's no option there. So I think there's one more move for them. I think the Lakers make one more move as well, by the way, to get a center as well to pair with LeBron and Luka. But yeah, where they are in the West, I don't know. I think the West is weird this year. It's been a weird season. I'd say for me, they were firmly second behind the Thunder, even though they're 8th in the standings. They just had the worst injury season out of any team in the NBA.
They haven't had very good luck, have you, this time, dude?
No. So I felt like they were the second best team. It's just get to the playoffs. And I think they would have felt like they could beat every team. I think the Nuggets would have always caused them a problem because they don't have anyone that can guard Jokic. So they were somewhere between 2 and 3, I'd say, in the West before this trade. Like now, I wouldn't pick them to beat the Lakers in the 7th game. No way. There's no way they'd beat if Luka played against the Mavs in 7 games.
Oh my goodness.
He is not going to walk out of that arena without a win. So I'd say they're probably, I don't know, 5th or maybe 6th or 7th in the West now. But the difference is they haven't got that guy in the playoffs, for me, who's going to turn the 5th team into, I'm going to go on the road and beat the 1st seed like they did with the Suns, all those years ago. So, I'd say they're probably still a really good team. And defensively, they're going to be really good. But when it comes down to fourth quarters, and you've got to go against Anthony Edwards or Jason Tatum or Shea, I don't think, Anthony Davis is not going to be the guy you want to chuck the ball to and say, we need loads of points. You know what I mean? I think he's a great player, but the only center that's ever done that in modern day is Jokic. All the others need someone to set them up. And I think that I don't know. And then in terms of the Lakers as well, they're probably about the same. I think both teams are ironically very similar now. It's just one is really deep, and then one has just got 2 stars that in a playoff game, I don't think you want to go against Lebron and Luka reading your defense. I think you're going to struggle to stop them scoring. I'd say they're probably both about there, 5, 6, 7 ish in the West. I just think the Mavs have sacrificed the future. AD is not going to be around for a while, whereas the Lakers have done the opposite. They found their future. So I think for this year, I think it probably makes the Mavs worse and the Lakers better. But I think it's the long term that the Mavs are just okay, we kind of really need AD to stay here forever now. We need Kyrie to resign because he's a free agent in the summer.
Can he opt out, Kyrie?
He can opt out. Yeah.
That's a big one, man. If you lose Kyrie then as well, I mean, that's it's gone south real quick, Liam, hasn't it? It's gone south real quick.
Well, it wouldn't shock me if he opts out and ends up with Luka and LeBron and LA.
Just moves over. Oh man, oh dude. I don't know if I could take that with Lakers fans, bro. Oh, no.
I don't know. I think I think Mavs wise, I think they could have got to the championship again this year. I think they'd need someone else to beat the Celtics, but they could have got there. And now without Luka, if you had a Nuggets series or you had a Thunder series, or even a Suns series, I wouldn't think many people would pit this current Mavs team without Luka to beat them, because I just think you need that top how many teams get to the NBA Finals that don't have a top 5 player? It just never really happens, does it? So,
No, definitely not.
Yeah, I'd say they're probably still going to make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to win many playoff games.
I think the only reason they're down in that 8th spot, Liam, is because, like you say, the injuries, isn't it? They probably would be higher right now if they hadn't have. You've had your bad luck. Lively's out now again, isn't he? And Luka's been out for a good stretch now, and I think you would be higher, wouldn't you, if you did have everybody available? It's just you've had that bit of unlucky stretch with injuries, haven't you? So, but you're still 8th, and you're still only like 4 games from the 4th spot. It's not like it was dire straits, really, is it? And
it's a very weird trade. Very weird timing.
Weird's a different word I'd use, but the more I look at it, the more it just finds it dumbfounding, mate.
Well, the funny thing is, Anthony Davis is currently injured. They've just traded.
They're worried about Luka's health, and you kind of, except for last season, really, you're trading for a guy who's very similar in terms of, he misses a lot of games, and again, if Davis does play, he can. AD can be a game changer on defense. We've seen it, haven't we? He can do that. But I just keep circling back, bro. When you look at these trades, you think I look at who the best guy in the trade was, and how old they are. And Luka was the best player in the trade, and he was the youngest player, one of the youngest players in that trade. And I just think he's 25. He's not even meant to be in his prime yet, and that is a scary thought for the whole league. And he's just been given to the Lakers on a silver platter, basically, which gripes me no end because I'm a Suns fan, so I hate the Lakers anyway. You've seen Luka kill people in the playoffs. He killed us. He killed the Timberwolves last year. Just a stone cold killer, mate, in the playoffs. You do not want to face that guy in the playoffs, mate. Like he is, regardless, he might not be the best defender, but not everybody is. Not everybody is a lockdown defender. But what he brings to you, what he brings for you on the offensive end, bro, you just kind of go, well, okay, he's not the best defender, but man, who do you want in a game 7? Who do you want with the ball in his hands with 3 minutes to go in a game 7 or a playoff game and things? And that's what I keep coming back to, bro, which I'm sure you've already gone over in your head, mate.
Yeah, agreed. And it's like, look at the Celtics as well. Like, when does their offense look the best? When they're sharing it around. When they start to hunt one person, their offense looks worse. Like, they're better when they're moving the ball. Like, absolutely, you do get hunted a little bit towards the end of the games if you're a bad defender. But across the whole playoff series, you're going to have the ball as a point guard at least, way more than they're going to be able to hunt you, just because there's not, if a team just constantly hunts one player, they're never going to get into a normal offense. Like, you might see a few times. I know the Suns did it with Booker and Paul in that series to Luka a couple of times. But the next game, all the coaches did was change the scheme, and it's like, okay, they can't quite pick on him as much. Like, I think you can work around one bad defender, who I don't even think, hot take, is that bad of a defender. But like you said,
I think he gets a lot of flack, bro, doesn't he? I think Luka's a better defender than he used to be. That for definite, But it's sometimes there's narratives, isn't there, in the NBA, bro? Like, Davis is always injured. That's the kind of narrative that's always out there, isn't it? I think Luka's a better defender than he was. I didn't think until maybe the finals. I didn't think he was that bad a defender in last year's playoffs, mate. Personally,
no, and I think he was just so injured last year that.
I think he was run down, mate. The amount of weight that had been put on his shoulders throughout the playoffs. I think he kind of ran out of steam in the end, bro, in the finals for me.
Yeah, 100%. And again, look, I always defend him. He's one of my favorite athletes, but I don't think the defense is that big of an issue. But the body stuff has been a problem. I think his issue is he never wants to not play basketball. Like, he's played games with his country every summer, and that has been a big problem for him. And I think if this is the trade that kind of kicks him to have that fire that I need to care about my body a bit more. Because really, I think the defense against the Celtics was because he was hurt. It's not because he's a bad defender. It's because he could barely move. So, like, anyone dribbles at him, they just blow straight by him. And then he looks like a bad defender. And I think it's more the physical side. And I think what better than to go learn off LeBron James, someone who's kept his body, better than anyone. And also just a kick up the arse, probably, for him. Because if he doesn't do it now after being traded as the best player to ever get traded, then you're never going to turn it around. So
very humbling experience, isn't it, bro?
Yeah. But I just know, we all know how sports works. Lakers and Mavs are going to play each other at some point in the playoffs, whether it's this year or next year. You
Oh
know
my
it's going to
God.
happen. It's like 100% going to happen, and he's going to absolutely murder them because that's who he is.
He could literally just turn into fuck you Luka mode now, couldn't he? And just completely dominate the NBA now. And you can see it happening, couldn't you?
Yeah, I just wish for personal reasons he would have gone to like I said, my family being Knicks fans, he would have gone to the Knicks, and then it would have been a lot easier to support him. But Lakers are traditionally a very difficult team to like, and now I've got to get my head around what I'm going to do as a Luka fan. So there we go.
The question is, Liam, are you going to remain a Mavs fan or are you moving? That's the question, bro.
Well, I might just be an NBA fan. I don't think I'm going to be a Mavs fan. But I don't think I'm not sure I can bring myself to being a Lakers fan. I think Rich Barrett would kill me. The man of UK NBA fans would kill me. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, it's still an interesting trade to talk about. But yeah, I think it's probably the worst trade in NBA history, but definitely the most shocking, which is pretty cool to talk about. I just wish it wasn't. Wish it was like Jokic or someone else, so I could enjoy it more.
Somebody that was nothing to do with me. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with any of my teams. Or
yeah, I haven't got about 15 jerseys with his name on the back to my left shoulder. So that's
man. They'll still be good. They'll still be good though, bro. They'll still be good. But yeah, I think it's going to be one of them times when you look back and go, "Oh yeah, I remember that when that happened." It's going to be one of them trades. I think it's going to be one of them. Oh my God! Do you remember when that happened? Kind of thing. I think it feels that monumentous, like, you know what I mean. That's the initial thoughts I've got, bro.
Yeah. Well, I know we've got to get out in a minute, but from your perspective, Suns fan, first round of the playoffs, you've got Mavs without Luka but with AD, or you've got LeBron and Luka and the Lakers. Who would you rather face just for this year?
I don't want to face Luka ever. I don't want to face Luka ever. He's killed us far too many times, bro. Like, unreal. Absolutely, yeah. He's just
You'll
killed
take
us,
the Mavs then with AD then.
Yeah, I think I will. Yeah, but again, not an easy hurdle to cross, mate, for sure. But
no.
I'm sure it'd be interesting to see Jason Kidd's comments as well, the Mavs coach, wouldn't it, as well, to see how he's going to go on with that. But
and Kyrie as well. Yeah, it's happened to him twice now. You know, he came to join. Yes. I know Brooklyn was obviously his fault to some degree, but you know, he wanted to play with Kevin, and then Kevin left, and then he wanted to play.
Yeah,
with Luka.
Everybody leaves.
And again, it wasn't Durant's fault. It was the team's fault, and this is probably the team's fault again. But yeah, I'd be interested to know how he feels because there was all those rumors, wasn't there, years ago that he only went to the Celtics because that's where Anthony Davis was going to go. So he is close with AD. So I wonder if he'll refrain from telling his true opinions because, like, I don't want AD to come in and me already be kind of bad mouthing the trade.
Yeah,
but I would love to see what his honest thoughts are because him and Luka became quite good friends last season. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Jason Kidd. I'm looking forward to Kyrie, and I'm definitely looking forward to watching Luka's first press conference. See if he takes a shot at Nico Harrison, which I hope he does.
Are you watching the game tonight? Because you're playing Cleveland, aren't you, tonight? I think.
No chance. I'm in Luka morning. I'm going to the cinema to not think about basketball tonight.
People can't see you crying in the dark, bro. We're good.
Exactly. I'll wear a Luka jersey under my coat, and that'll be it.
We'll always have the 24 playoff run. We'll always have the 24 playoff run.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
They've now fumbled Jalen Brunson and Luka Doncic. So there we go. That's life.
Oh, mate. Yeah, Dad's even forgot about that, bro. Oh, my goodness. Ouch. There we go. Oh, man. That's going to take some getting over, man. I'll be honest. But thanks a lot for coming on, Liam. Is there anything else you want to say before we head out? No, that was it. Just appreciate having me on. Crazy trade. Looking forward to what it brings, and you'll have to get me back on to talk general NBA things, so I'm not just so emotional. Yeah, mate. No, absolutely, mate. Absolutely, you're more than welcome, mate. It's great having you on again. But before you head out, do you want to tell people where they can find you on the socials? Yeah, I might be tweeting more about the Lakers now, but tweeting general NBA things at _Liam Horsley on Twitter. And again, if anyone does like the NFL, I've stopped my NBA pod, unfortunately, but I've still got an NFL pod called the Go for Two podcast. So anyone who likes all American sports and wants to join us over there and listen to that, then please do. Absolutely. But Yeah.
Yeah, you'll find me on Twitter rambling about this trade alongside you.
Sounds, yeah, lovely. Thank you very much. Who have you got for the Super Bowl then, bro? You Chiefs fan, aren't you? So it's a stupid question.
Yeah, Chiefs. Yeah, Chiefs.
Of course, the machine keeps rolling. So yeah, should be a good game though for the neutral. Anyway, probably not for you, mate. But
true. Hopefully, it'll be a good game for me, but be more nerve wracking for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, thanks a lot for coming on, bro. Really appreciate it. So I'm Matt at Post323. So you'll be able to watch this on YouTube, and it'll be available on podcast form on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back again very soon with another episode, guys. So take care, and we will see you again very soon.